This is the JFJ Conspiracy Podcast, where the shop talk is rock.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Frank.
And I'm Jerry.
And this is the JFJ Conspiracy Podcast, where the shop talk is rock. Gentlemen, how you doing tonight? Jerry?
Wonderfully. I'm doing wonderfully, guys.
Good. Jim?
I'm doing great.
You're doing great. That's
Except for this pre-podcast conversation we're having, which was like a knife through the heart. But well,
Hi, man, not us.
It was a little warm-up precursor talking about, and we'll get to that later on in the show.
Yes, we will. Yep.
And this may take us in a whole different direction. We'll see.
I think it'll be good.
Yeah,
I think it will be good too.
Yeah. Yes.
It's gonna make for a good podcast, I think.
Good point, Emmy. Yep.
Or it's gonna be a complete bomb. I don't know. Let's find
No.
So
We can all bomb on our own, but not us three together. No way.
I don't have a mail call this week. Jim, you are without a mail call as well?
Yes. No. I got stuff coming. Nothing has arrived yet. So.
Okay. Like I said, I did get a box, but it's in the other room. I haven't opened it yet, so we'll unbox that in a couple weeks, and it'll be old news by then, but still fun to look at.
I still do that too. I get stuff from the mail people who deliver us packages. It'll be there unwrapped until next week. Then I try to figure out what is that's in the box unwrapped. So I do the
It's
same thing.
tough to buy a used album online because you
I don't even like the sound of that.
now I bought a lot of 5 albums for $26. They claim they're all in very good condition. They should be here in a week or so, but it was 80s rock. It was Scorpion, Love at First Sting, Heaven, and Rose Tattoo, and I forget the other two bands. But the reason I bought it was for the Rose Tattoo. Recently saw a picture online with Malcolm Young with the singer from Rose Tattoo, and then his name escapes me right now.
Me too. I was just gonna say, what was the guy's name from Rose Tattoo?
Something I don't know, but it's he's all of 5'1", so he's
Wow.
Malcolm just towers over him. It's hilarious.
But Malcolm's a short little dude.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Or I
He
think
makes up for it in that rhythm.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
The people of the musical had thought the singer from Rose Tattoo should have replaced Bon Scott, so that's what made me go back and listen. And Rose Tattoo was an Australian band, and they
Right.
big in Australia, not so much here.
Well, same with AC/DC before,
But
Same with NXS for that matter.
go listen to Rose Tattoo and tell me you don't think that their singer should have replaced Bon Scott, because their music was right on with what AC/DC was doing at the time. So check it out. Rose Tattoo
I don't know. Brian Johnson was a good replacement.
did a great
Yes, he was. Yep.
It's I mean, you can make that argument, right? But
well.
you can't argue with the success they had with Brian Johnson.
And Jordy.
I'm
No
talking.
slouch. Yeah.
I'm talking about the fans of Australia, because Rose Tattoo is an Australian band.
Right. Brian Johnson's a Brit, right? So
But
Yeah, but AC/DC is Australian. That kind of slides in the back door there.
not when
Sure.
you get an Australian
What?
lead singer that sings like Bon Scott.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
That's all I'm getting at. But anyways, check that out. Rose Tattoo. Really enjoy their music. Anyways, moving on. You guys have anything? I know we have the world in turmoil as we speak, but
Yeah. Yet again, I was gonna wear
had,
my mask. I was gonna wear my mask for the podcast to avoid the COVID-19 from you guys.
nice.
But
Like
then
it.
I realized we're all in our own homes.
Well, just put it on when I'm talking. So that way,
Oh no, I got immune to you back in high school, bro. I building up my immunity, Simon. You know, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade. I think by halfway through 11th grade, I was completely immune from Frank.
Yes.
We had a couple people that passed away this week. Paul Raymond.
Yeah.
Oh, not Paul Raymond. What am I saying?
No.
Who is it?
Chapman.
Yes.
Thank you, Frank. I did the same thing Jaime did. I hit the mid-50s stall.
Paul Raymond did pass away, but much earlier.
Yeah.
Now Chapman took over for Shankner when he left in UFO, and as much as I love Shankner, didn't miss a beat. He was an excellent guitarist.
Oh yeah,
excellent guitarist, and
featured in Strangers in the Night. Yeah,
I was gonna say I think he had filled in already for some.
He was there by then. Yeah, I looked it up. Yep.
Well, Shankner
some spots because
was flaky.
I don't know, Shankar was flaky.
Yeah, and I thought I was flaky, guys. I think of MSG. I go, that dude's flaky, and it's like, no, Jerry, you're flaky. No, it's like, no, I'm not gonna go up 10 minutes before the show starts. Well, actually, I take that back. Yeah.
You have
MSG is
but he
take that back.
You know, he went through hunger strikes and just all kinds of different things in his life. Michael's got his demons. That's all there is to it.
Well, yeah. How do you go through a hunger strike when you're out? Well, I guess back in those days you could go without eating for quite a few days, huh?
Oh yeah, he went several days without eating and sleeping.
I bet.
But other than that, you have anything else out there, Jim?
No.
All right. Well, let's jump right into it. And Jerry, what do you have for us this week?
I got a fantastic 80s hard rock band from Cleveland, Ohio called Vandalus. Vandallus.
Cleveland rocks.
Cleveland rocks. Cleveland rocks. That's funny, Jaime, you say that because some of the stuff said from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And then some said Cleveland. And that's funny, Jaime, you said that. My first thought was, no, we'll put Cleveland because Cleveland rocks. Anyway, folks, that's showing our age. Yeah. The name of the EP Frank's gonna play from the EP is called Outbreak. From the album's also called Outbreak. They've had 2 other releases. One is on the high side from May of 2016. One is called Bad Disease from 2018, and then this album is from December of 2019. So 6-7 months old. It says their bio, the official home of 80s rock and roll.
Yep.
I like it. We've got Jason Vanek on vocals, Paul Vanek on guitars, Steve Dukulslo on drums, Tim Frederick on bass, Vic Stown on guitars, and a session musician that assisted was Jesse Stown on drums. Produced by Crazy V and Vanek, which is basically Jason Vanek and Paul Vanek. They have their nicknames. Recorded at Mercenary Studios, Avon, Ohio. Mixed and mastered by Crazy V, who is Jason. Assisted by Noah C. Buchanan. You can reach him at Vandallus, vandallus.com/store for your vinyl. The email is truemetal@legacymetal.com. The web is vandalus.com. Twitter is @vandalus. They've got great stuff on YouTube, folks. They've got a mix on YouTube that's just, these guys are good. And live, what I like, boys, is live. They can pull it off live. Mm-hmm. The song, again, Frank's going to play is Outbreak from the album of the same name. This is Vandalus, Vandallus, out of Cleveland, Ohio.
All right. And I may have pulled up the wrong songs. I think I've got Barricade.
Oh.
anyway, so Jim, what do you think about Barricade?
I really liked this.
Yeah.
This is like took me back. They say like home of the '80s rock. That was right in there,
I love that.
and reminded me. The voice reminds me of Dokken a bit, and
Really?
the song kind of reminds me of that era. The way it's produced, and I really like that little guitar breakdown right before the bridge.
Hmm.
It wasn't anything super fancy or anything, but I thought it fit the song perfect. I thought it was great songcraft, great song. I liked the production, and thought it was good songwriting.
Yeah.
Two
Folks
thumbs
out in
up from
Conspiracy,
Jim.
folks out in Conspiracy Land, they have great stuff on YouTube. Great live videos where they're doing it live in a little setting, and they even sound good live. Vandalists out of Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah,
I will.
YouTube's loaded with them. Yeah,
I will add that to my playlist.
yeah.
Cool. I looked at it as almost like the Judas Priest stained glass era, and Jackson. It was just that type of retro metal that I like so much.
Very clean too. You can hear everything. Very clean. Yeah.
I love the drums on that. I thought sound, like you say, production was just so good on that.
Yeah.
So check them out.
Steve DeCuslo on drums. Yep.
Very good.
Vandalus. Vandallus. Vandalus.
Very
Ohio.
visual way of writing that name. So.
Well, because what I went over, guys, was how to pronounce this a couple times. I was going to email him. I go, no, you can figure it out, Jared. So,
Now you'll find out you were completely wrong.
Well, if I'm wrong, it wasn't by far. I can roll the double L's and say Vandalus.
You're probably right.
You have the right.
Out of Cleveland, Jaime. Cleveland's telling me that's Vandalus.
I agree.
Well, moving forward, I've got a band from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I'm going to read you their bio that you can check out on Facebook. And it says, in a world dominated by dance, rap, and pop, Shatterglass is bringing great commercial rock back to the masses. Straight out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Shatterglass comes equipped with an arsenal of infectious melodies over a rock groove. Consisting of members, Zoog on vocals, J-Rock on guitars, Donnie J on bass, and Ron John on drums and percussion. There's no stopping these guys when they're doing what they do best, and that's making good music. And first time I listened to this, I thought, this is very contemporary, just good stuff. This is Shatterglass from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and the song that we're going to listen to is Sick.
Wake up every morning, that demon's under your bed. You try to ignore him, but he's inside your head. You cry out loud, but nothing is said. Just suffer in silence because you're already dead.
right, that's Shatterglass with Sick. Let's start with you, Jerry. What did you think?
I like that a lot. I like that, especially at an intro. That's very polished, very fat and heavy metal, but it's clean. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. In fact, I said it. I don't know if it. Hopefully, it's not on the recording, folks. But yeah, as soon as Frank played about 4 seconds of that, I'm a fan of that. You know, I liked it.
What'd you think, Jim? Yep, you're muted now.
Unmute that. Hello.
Hey, Jaime, ¿cómo está?
We're new to Zoom, folks.
I'm trying. Yeah, trying to keep the dog noises out. So.
We love it when the dog approves, though.
Yeah. I don't like it so much, but
The dog or
So,
the song?
yeah, right off the bat, I thought, oh, this sounds kind of 90s grunge, kind of in that vein.
Suave.
And I wasn't convinced right off the bat until they got to the pre-chorus and the bridge. And like when that pre-chorus kicks in, I was just like, oh, this is great. I mean, there's like some real finesse to it. You know, it kind of undercuts that little grunge tone in there. And it's not in a bad way or anything. It's just I thought the production was great. I think it's as good as anything that's out there.
Yeah.
These guys should be on the radio. If they're not, they should
Absolutely.
they should be ruling the world.
Mm-hmm.
I
like it when Jaime uses that. I love that. It's like you're
What's
right.
that?
Should rule the world. Should be on radio.
They
I love
should
that.
be.
They should.
It's
Absolutely.
as good as anything that's on the radio. Probably
It
better.
is, Jaime.
Probably better than 90% of what's on the radio.
And to realize that
Easily.
And to realize that it's unsigned or it's not Meg or it's not. Well, of course, nobody's touring now, but I agree with you 100%, Jaime. This stuff is radio ready.
What it didn't have, 2 things. Screaming vocals, which you think it's going to have.
And I'm glad I didn't.
Right. And a guitar solo, which it didn't need.
And it didn't need it.
Oh, guys, every song. There's. I'm sorry. We'll go there some other show. But even Beach Boys album Endless Summer, you know, Carl Wilson throws in them little lead solos in a song under 3 minutes. And, you know, I'm a fan of tunes having a guitar solo in it. But I digress. I apologize, guys. I'm sorry.
Not everything needs a guitar solo.
Oh, contraire, Jaime. It's got to have a little, even if it's a couple seconds, just cut out, solo, cut back in. Thank you.
Yeah, but you know what? There's plenty of good, tasty little parts in there. It doesn't have.
There
to be.
absolutely is. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was listening the first time. I'm like, this thing's going to have an insane solo. I'm just sure of it because it's so slick and these guys are so good. And like you say, pre-chorus comes in and oh wow, there's backing vocals.
What happened to the solo?
Didn't ever look for it.
And the vocals are so well arranged.
I agree with you.
It's just so well done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
2 thumbs up from Jim.
Yeah, but no solo.
The production is A1. That's all you can say. They
It's
did
very smooth. Yeah.
placing the vocals and everything just right. So anyways, that's Shatterglass. Check them out on Facebook and you can download their music on Bandcamp. Check them out. I know they'd appreciate it. Send them a little love. Do it.
They deserve it.
Yes. So moving forward, I know you've got a real headbanger for us this week, Jim. Why don't you take it?
Yeah, we've done the 80s and 90s. Now we're going back to the 60s and 70s, I think. So we I know it's the Shop Talk is Rock here, but this is more of a soul tune, kind of a little Motown-y. Sha-la-las. So they were kind enough to actually send me a bio.
Hey now.
One of the few. Thank you guys for sending a bio. I'm gonna read it as is because it's well done here. So as soon as I can find it, with swirling Hammond organ and vocals delivered with real purpose, the Sha-la-las are a London-based 4-piece steeped in mod and soul roots. Sha-la-las started out 2012. Darren Robinson had written a bunch of songs that he was really excited about. He got in his main man, Giovanni Pax Picarillo, on drums and armed with the Maxim somewhere between Detroit and Canvey Island. Recorded a 4-track EP. Limited run of 500 they put out themselves, quickly sold out, got a lot of interest. They then signed to Detour Records off the back of that EP. And having recruited John Lee on Hammond organ, released the Feeling Real LP in 2013. Soul of the Nation 7-inch was released in 2014, which again sold out. Your Blind Soul EP was released 2015. Barry Osborne completed the current lineup in 2017. And the Gotta Find a Better Way LP was released. Series of singles followed. 2018 saw the release of When Love Comes 7-inch. I thought this song was just released. I didn't realize this song is a re-release.
Okay.
But got rave reviews from Record Collector and Scootering Magazine. And the Northern Soul DJ Richard Searling played it out at one of his nights in Blackpool, sold out a few days later. So it's now been released on Happy People Records. That's how I found it.
All right.
Showed up in my Bandcamp feed, and the minute I heard it, I loved it. And I thought, we're doing the Who, so why not have a mod band? not like I need a reason for a mod band.
No,
right?
I was just gonna say, as soon as you said that, I was gonna jump in, but I'll be quiet this time.
Right. So anyway, so this is When Love Comes. Give it a spin there, Frankie.
All right, here we go.
When love comes into your life like a hurricane, nothing can be the same. When love comes into your life, raining down on you, there's nothing you can do. When love's gone, when love's gone, when love's gone, keep on holding on. Get ready for the love that's gonna come into your life. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When love comes into your life, taking all of you and everything you thought you knew. When love comes into your life, defeating you, making a fool out of you. When love's gone, when love's gone, when love's gone, keep on holding on. Get ready for the love that's gonna come into your life. Yeah, 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 yeah. When love comes into your life like a hurricane, nothing can be the same. When love comes into your life, taking all of you and everything you thought you knew. When love's gone, when love's gone, when love's gone, keep on holding on. Get ready for the love, ready for the love. Are you ready for the love that's gonna come into your life? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Into your life.
So there's the sha-la-las for when love comes.
That's awesome.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Out in the street.
Oh, well, I'll get to that a little bit later.
Hmm.
Well, and that's on Happy People Records. I would have thought that would have been on the Playtone catalog.
Playtone.
Yeah,
catalog.
I want something snappy and peppy.
Yes. That was good stuff. And right in line with the 60s music where you say the title of the song throughout the whole song. It's just, you'll know the name of the song by the time it's over. Love it.
Yeah, says the name of the song right up front.
Yep. There you go.
You want a hit song? Say the name right up front.
Oh, there it is.
Very lot of reverence for the for his influences, I think. You know, I mean, he's not turning anything on its head, but I think it's beautifully recorded. I think
to
the
me,
song
that's
is
a Van Morrison song
off the hook. I mean, and the
in a
drum
good
fills,
way. Oh,
perfectly
it's
placed.
beautiful.
The background vocals, great.
Yeah.
Can't complain about it. It's
Well,
awesome.
So nice
Oh,
that
well done, Jaime.
it's
thumbs
a
up
Double
from Jim.
thumbs up. Yeah.
retro 60s song recorded
Oh, that's beautiful.
that you still get that good feeling of the 60s music, but yet it's so crystal clear.
And that voice.
It's beautiful.
What a perfect soul voice, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes on about 3 seconds in, when I start going, that's how I know.
We thought
No hand clap, no snapping, no nothing. Just like
That's it.
that is good.
that's beautiful, Jaime.
Find them
My
on
gosh.
Bandcamp. Vinyl is available.
Sha-la-la.
And there's a few colored vinyls left, I think.
Uh-oh. Did Frank hear that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't collect 60s genre music. It's not really a forte to that much, but dang, purple vinyl. That's hard to pass up.
There was like 7 of them left when I got it.
Oh.
Yeah,
It's been out less than a month, so.
very nice. Well, I'm sure that'll
That's a beautiful song, Jaime.
good.
Now the B-side's fantastic too. Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
Both great. So
All right.
anyway, thank you, Sha-la-las.
Thank you, Sha-la-la. That's a beautiful song. And it's great on YouTube, folks, out in Conspiracy Land, because it's that old type of video where it shows them in the studio and they're each in their little separate compartment, doing their thing. And then, all their little inputs, and then they lay it out final. And it's a great video, folks. Great tune, but a good video too. YouTube, Sha-la-las. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
We had Vandalus. We had Shatterglass and the Sha-la-las. Three great bands to check out. So moving forward, we go to Jim's classic rock pick. And take it away, Jim.
Okay, so this week we have The Who sings My Generation. Their debut, 1965.
Woo!
Oh, I'm sorry, released April 25, 1966.
Okay.
I thought that was 65.
On Decca Records. Oh, 65 in the UK, 66 in the US.
Right.
So December, we didn't get it here until April.
No, that's the end of the year.
66.
You'll give them that. You're right, Jaime. Yeah.
Okay. As I was telling these gentlemen earlier, considered one of the greatest debut albums of all time.
By who?
And I want to say this. I want to
By
say
the Who,
this.
Frank. That's how he's trying to trick us.
No.
It's not by whom. It's by the Who. Go, Jaime.
So when
Damn it.
so last episode when I said Who Sings My Generation, I could tell Frank was not thrilled right off the bat.
He wasn't.
because
And I
he
love
said
the Who.
because he said, why did you pick that album for the cover?
The cover? Yeah.
I said my time with the Who starts at Who's Next and rolls forward. And I said,
Bless you, Frank. Mine starts,
This is going to be a tough sell, but
tough as
this is
hell.
the first time. This is the first time I have not listened to this album in pieces, but listened to it all the way through.
I tried to.
And I came away. It's like it's a perfect album. Every song is so good. It's so well laid out. It's so well produced. There's not a clunker in the bunch. Well, one song that I will say doesn't quite make the cut for me, but everything else,
I hope it's the
including
same
the
one I
cover
picked.
songs,
Yeah.
I think are just great.
Jim, besides My Generation and The Kids Are All Right, what else was released as singles from that opus of an album?
Okay, so hold on.
May I interject while Jaime's thinking? I told you Cats Out in Conspiracy Land, my first Who album was a compilation, Meaty Beaty Big and Bouncy, and it had My Generation, The Kids Are All Right, and A Legal Matter.
A Legal Matter was the other single.
Right, and that's where I started with the Who folks. So I didn't really start a little bit before Frank, maybe Who's Next or Tommy. But I'm sorry to apologize. 3 of them from
My Generation.
Yeah.
Very first punk rock song.
Yes.
I think you can
Yep.
make that argument.
Yes.
And I'd say I'd concur. I'd argue that that's the first bass solo I ever heard in anything to this day.
No guitar solo in that song, by the
No
way.
guitar.
Nope, just fat, heavy backup chords on his Rickenbacker. Oh,
If you
good
ask
stuff.
anybody who does a cover of that song, they will tell you the lyrics are almost impossible because you're trying to make yourself stutter on cue. It's not an easy thing to do.
Well, I can do that any time of the day, Frank. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I do it. I just do it naturally, so it's not a
Same
problem.
here. Yeah.
So little factoid about the stuttering thing.
Excuse me.
At the time, at Mod London, the whole mod scene was happening. These kids would go all night dancing, and the way to fuel that is through amphetamine use.
Huh?
And one of the telltale signs of being on speed is stuttering, and so he did that as a way of.
Wow, clever, Jaime.
Not that he was on speed, but that it was kind of a
showing support.
well, I wouldn't say showing support, but he's talking about his generation, and that's what his generation was doing.
I never knew that, Jaime. I love that. I never knew that.
He was replicating people who were on speed.
Oh boy.
Well, side 1, we have Out in the Street. I Don't Mind. The Good's Gone, right?
Yep.
La 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 Blues.
La La Lies. Yep.
Much Too Much.
Much Too Much.
Yep.
It ends with My Generation. So let's talk about those songs for a minute, shall we?
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
Out in the Street, classic Who song.
That's Keith Moon.
Yeah.
I mean, the drumming in that, he's just him.
Yeah.
Doing Keith Moon.
It's recognizable right off the top. Now, again, I Don't Mind. It's okay. Not a great song. Didn't stick with me.
James Brown tune.
Yeah. And then
Is that the first James Brown tune on this debut?
Yep.
the next 3 songs, The Good's Gone and La La La, and Much Too Much, forgettable. I mean,
Oh, no way.
Now I'll agree. I'll side up with Jaime, Frank. Out in the Street, I have I Don't Mind. I have my note, great guitar solo, because there should be one in every song, folks, out in Conspiracy Land, even in the Who's debut.
Oh, you're wrong.
Hush up. The Good's Gone. I have my note, OG. That's old school good stuff. And Twang.
Absolutely.
So Pete's playing that Rickenbacker. La La Lies, guys. I have good piano. Okay. Sorry.
Maybe
Much too
maybe
much. I
Nicky
got
Hopkins
Keith as
on
Keith.
that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it's the Who's debut. So who's playing on it? The Who.
Look, here's something I noticed about side 1. Great vocals. And I'm not just talking about Roger. I'm talking about like all the backing vocals. and
Oh, the
everything.
backing
They're
vocals
so,
are beautiful.
Yeah, it's so well put together and just
Agreed.
all good singing in there.
Agreed. Frank's not saying much, Jaime. Did his mic go out?
It's maximum R&B right there, man. I'm telling you, this.
I agree with you on the vocal.
I can see everything's falling on deaf ears here.
No, it's not falling on my deaf ears. Jaime, I agree. I got my little notes here. The backing vocals, and again, folks on Conspiracy Land, whose debut? They're 20. They don't know which way is up. But
I think Keith was like 18 or something, right?
Yeah, exactly. He was the youngest. But you can feel stuff. You can feel like what's coming. And you know, the next album, Quick One While He's Away, and the one after that, the Who Sell Out.
What are we talking about right now? We're talking about their first album.
This is a very.
You can see stuff coming, Frank, is my point. I'm concurring with Jaime. You can tell, well, it just started with the vocals. So
my point is,
my bad.
Debut album, it should be you should not be able to forget about any song on a debut album. This comes in a time when they had probably a 20 record deal at the time. So they could put out you got cover tunes.
Well, Stones started out like that, all cover tunes, and they started writing their own, and so did the Who.
Stones were better as a cover band.
By the time you get to their second or third album, and especially their fourth album, the Who are blitzing it. So,
okay, so two James Brown songs and a Bo Diddley song.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
that wasn't unusual for the time.
No, but they're not.
No, it wasn't.
They weren't a blues band. They were a rock band.
They were maximum R&B. That's where they were coming off. They were listening to all that Motown,
I like that term,
and
Jaime.
blues and everything else.
And so the Stones debut, their first couple albums, did they have an original tune? Not that I'm comparing, because the Who released half as much albums as Stones did, and they're still up there. So,
well, we haven't got to side 2 yet, but
still got
so far not a clunker in the bunch. I love it all.
No,
my generation ends.
Well, there's coming a clunker, Jaime.
You've got My Generation, like I was trying to say, Jerry. Let's talk about that song. This is the one that defined them as a rock and roll band.
All I can recall is that show on the Smothers Brothers show where they blew up everything. That's all I could.
Right?
Yeah.
Rock song.
Yeah, it's pretty rock and roll.
Okay. I mean, it's punk.
Punk rock.
You didn't get any more at the time. And I say, then you put out this other stuff, and it just doesn't cut it for me. Again, I know my taste is so much different when it comes to if I was going to get into a band and this was their first album, I wouldn't buy their second album. That's just me,
Okay.
So let's give side.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that, Frank. I'll give you that. If I had listened to this first before I ever purchased Meaty Beaty Big and Bouncy, I may have not pursued it.
However,
yes.
Well, they progressed.
They're
a rock band.
They completely did.
They're a product of their time. Number one.
Jaime always takes us back and I love that because I forget. You think modern, folks. I'm sorry, Jaime. Go ahead. You're absolutely right.
Right, and I think I appreciate it more now hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
If I had listened to this album, if 16-year-old or 17-year-old Jim listened to this album, it would have been song 6 on side 1 and song 1 on side 2.
Yeah. Well, that's.
Yep.
I listened through.
Yep.
I tried to because we do album oriented rock. I try to listen side 1, side 2 all the way through, and
it was hard today, Frank.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Side 2 starts off with The Kids Are All Right. Please,
beautiful.
It's Not True. The Ox, and A Legal Matter, and ends up with what is that? Instant
Party. Circles.
All right, let's talk about side 2, Jim, shall we?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. Shall we?
The Kids Are All Right, Jaime. The Kids Are All Right. So let's talk about it.
It's the beginning of power pop right there, man.
Kids Are All Right, of course, is a staple on any rock station.
Maybe my favorite Who song.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a good one, Frank.
If it's
That's
not,
Don't know.
backing vocals. Yeah.
if it's not, it's in the top 2.
No. See, now I prefer older Who Are You album.
That would be younger compared to this, Frank. That would be younger Who.
Yeah, it would be.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
In reverse.
But later.
Yes.
Right. First there was this, then there was the other. Yeah.
But
Shocking song. Who Are You?
yeah, well, the whole album was good for me.
Yes.
You talk about an album without a clunker, you know.
Yeah.
This one,
But they became a hard rock band by then.
right? This album's got a flat tire or two, in my opinion. But you know, if you put up the aux to any other Who song, and your car's leaning this way, because
Yeah, I didn't have
but don't
much
look at
appreciation for it.
Yeah, no, but to me that's just a jam they threw away to fill up the album. What's the album? 39 minutes, 36 minutes, and they had 3 or 4 minutes to fill.
and I take it matter that that's a Pete Townsend song, and I could hear Mickey Dolenz singing that. I mean, it's such a pop tune.
Which song, Frank?
A Legal Matter.
Oh, I love that tune.
I could hear the
Jerry turned me on to that song back in high school.
Meaty beady, big and bouncy. Yep,
Yeah.
I love it.
Now, favorite song for me on the whole album, believe it or not, and that's, and I'm not talking about My Generation or The Kids Are All Right, but
No.
is my favorite.
Which one?
It's not.
What is, Frank?
It's Not True.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, Jaime and Frank, next to It's Not True, I have Voices. Very good. Very blendy.
very blendy. That's I think that's an actual word.
Well, yeah, it's like wonderful and wonderfully, you know.
Well, Ox, least favorite. I think we're all in agreement on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, well, if that thing was about a minute long, that would be groovy. But 3 and change, you know, when you're, yeah. I mean, to me, it's just trying to emphasize John Entwistle's, you know,
And here's
talent.
my thing, Jerry. When you're talking about, oh, we need to fill up the album, you
Yeah.
don't. You don't need to
No,
fill
you
it
don't.
up.
No. Then where did the ox come from?
Just don't put it on there.
Self-indulgent tune that they just want to show off a little bit on. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, edit yourself. That's my thing.
Well,
When
to me,
when
like-
CDs when
Yeah.
CDs became a thing, all of a sudden the bands could put 15, 16, 18 songs on an album.
And they shouldn't.
But I know, but 10 of them sucked.
But it was still always under the time constraint. When I first started burning CDs, folks, back in the day, you can't go past an hour 20,
You
at
don't.
least in my experience.
Yeah, but my thing is, just because you can doesn't mean you should. 8 good songs and 10 terrible ones.
Right. Well, see, if you take all those 8 good songs, Jaime, and threw a guitar solo into all of them, it would take up the time that they would have used for 10 bad tunes, in my humble opinion, folks.
So let's get back to who said this is one of the greatest debuts of all time. I'm still waiting on some verification on.
It's
Well-
a good debut, but
Let's see.
you're not going to find
Ro-
it, Jaime.
Robert
Frank and I
Crusoe?
already know. We already know. Frank and I already know. You're not going to find greatest
Called
debut.
My Generation, the hardest rock in history.
The song.
Then 67. Let's see.
You're not going to find it, Jaime. Quit looking.
No, I'm looking at it right now.
You know,
Their second album.
One of the
No.
hardest mod pop ever recorded.
yeah, that,
Agreed. The song.
At the time of its release, it also had the most ferociously powerful guitars and drums yet captured on a rock record.
hold on a second though. When was that
Ag-
written? Oh,
Agreed.
1968, 1966. You know,
What's your point?
you said it was one of the greatest debuts of all time.
He read it somewhere, Frank. Don't berate him. We're in COVID-19. Hang on.
I happen to agree with it. I think it's a brilliant debut.
Really?
Other than the Ox, which I think they could have left off. But
There's no way that's a brilliant debut, Jaime. And I love you and I love Frank. That's not a brilliant debut.
It's a good debut.
It's good.
Debut. It's not.
okay. I'm alone on this one. You're not gonna change my mind because
No, we're not, folks. In Conspiracy Land, this is exactly what we did in 1980. Standing outside the library in front of our high school. This is exactly what we did, folks, in Conspiracy Land, and that's why I love my two brothers, Jim and Frank.
We haven't grown.
But there's no way that's a great debut. There's no way that's a great debut.
Are you kidding me?
I got fourth.
Jaime, no, there's, I was alive back then. I was a year and a half old, but I will give Jaime the edge on this, Frank, in that I got into The Who. I told you, meaty, beady, big and bouncy. And then I got into Tommy and Who's Next and Quadrophenia. So to go all the way back to the debut was very difficult, guys. And I see some shining moments where Pete's switching pickups at the end of a song, or where he's overdubbing a lead. It's all mono on this album. But as far as a great debut, Jaime, I'm about 70% on a great debut.
Well, I think that's more than Frank is. So.
Yeah.
Oh, Frank's probably 3%.
I love the way that Jerry's kind of like Switzerland.
Tonight he is. Yeah, he's right.
Well, here's the thing, guys. Normally I'm not Switzerland.
That's true.
Switzerland does maintain an air force, by the way, folks, in case you didn't know. But I love my Who guys. But I got into it's like listening to Creatures of the Night by Kiss and then playing their debut. You're like, oh, what's wrong with these clods? What are they doing? But having said that, Jaime, on listening to this for the first time, this album, I have their second album, third on up, all of them. You can see the beginnings of Townsend's stuff, the vocals. A couple of these songs, you can't even tell that's Keith Moon playing. Sounds like Lawrence Welk playing. But then a couple of tunes, you can see he just cuts loose. So I will agree with Jaime, Frank, that this is a great debut. You can kind of see where they're heading. But I don't know about great debut, Jaime. Do I hear Keith Moon?
I know.
Being Keith Moon.
Go back and listen to side one, track one. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Out in the Street?
all over the
Yes.
Sounds pretty standard, Jaime. To
Are we
me,
listening to the same song?
Yes. Play it again, Frank.
You go back and play it again. I'm telling you right now.
I'll play it right now while we're recording if you want that.
Out in the street.
Thank you, Frank. There was a lot of feels, Jaime. So I have to take that back.
Hello?
He's all over the place.
He's all over the freaking place.
There's a lot of fills there. I think what threw me off in that tune was Daltrey's voice.
Keith freaking Moon on that song. That's
Yep.
him.
Okay.
His signature is all over that.
That is a good song to start it out.
It's the intro to his
Heck
signature.
yeah, it's a great opening
Yep.
track.
Yeah.
Lots of fills.
Anyways.
So I was thinking about the record today. I was listening to it again on the way home from work.
And you made it home?
If I were right now and I was a 17-year-old kid and I listened to this, I don't think I would go explore.
Appreciate it. No. You don't appreciate these songs. When we were in high school, I didn't appreciate majority of these songs.
I think part of it is I'm just a super fan.
I love the
plus I don't know. I like that. I love R&B like that 60s, 70s R&B. That's why I like the Sha-La-Las. I love that.
Oh, that was a great pick. I mean, yeah.
Well, I was bummed out as a kid when I found out that the Beatles' first and second album was full of cover tunes. I thought,
oh yeah,
songs, as a kid. And then later on when I found out, oh, these are, everybody else's songs. Wow, that they didn't even bother to write their own songs in the
You thought that even back then, Frank?
5 and 6 years. Yeah.
Really? Because I never got into thinking whose tune is it, or whose tune is this, or I've heard that before by somebody else. I never got into that till I was
Always did.
way older.
Yeah, no, I would sit there, and like I said, I'd sit on the couch and listen with my mom to the Beatles,
Yeah.
and I'd ask, who's singing this song? Who's singing that song? And who wrote them? And of course, she'd just shut me up. She'd say, John, Paul, George, Ringo, they all wrote them.
Whatever.
It's one of them. Bless her heart.
But like I said, for a debut album, good album, not great.
Great album debut.
Mm,
Well,
so
one of the top debuts. I mean, where do we find that on the web? Where do we find top debut albums? I guess I could just say that, huh?
yeah,
On
You could-
DuckDuckGo. Top
go.
debut albums.
Google it.
That would probably be up there with Boston, right, Frank?
Boston, yeah. But
Yeah.
what kind of sales did this album do? Especially over 50 years. How many albums have they sold?
That's a good question. Let's see if I can find that.
Do it, Jaime.
Let's see. I don't know if it's going to tell us
I
total
mean, 50
sales.
years. That's what I love. The dog approves. Look it up. I mean, the dog approves. Or is that
Still,
Frank?
Yeah. I don't know.
See,
Still in the 100 greatest British albums of all time.
It's in the top 100 of British albums of all time. The Who's debut?
That's from NME. Yes.
it's an island, okay? So
It's being held in the Library of Congress because it's so blasted good.
Go, Jaime.
Let's see.
Woo. Go, Jaime.
Singles album. Let's see. NME charts. Position number 5. Topped out at number 5 in 1965. Certified
Wow.
gold in the UK.
gold.
You know what, Frank? It was tumultuous times in those days. Tumultuous times. That's what
But
it
you
is.
gotta remember
Tumultuous.
a gold album in Britain
How many? It's been out
during
In
the
65?
60s, that
Yeah.
was like a big deal.
Very good
Huge.
point, Jaime. You're right.
was that
Very good point.
became gold, or is that overall time?
No, not overall. I don't think I have overall time. That's when it went gold.
Okay,
So
Initially? What you're saying? Initially?
they tracked it back then.
Or like Frank saying,
let's
you know,
see. So certified gold in the UK is 100,000 units.
that ain't
yeah.
But when you live on a small island, 100,000 units is a big deal.
Out in the Atlantic.
Well, moving forward, we'll leave it.
Yes,
Please.
please.
The Who's Sings My Generation. Different direction.
Yeah,
Oh.
old suede head mod like me, man. I dig it.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. What I enjoyed about it, Jaime, on my first listen, again, you know, you can feel where it's going. You can see, like, and again, these cats are 19, 20. But there's a couple of tunes, or there's a couple of vocal backgrounds, or there's a couple of guitar parts where you can see where it's going. And I did enjoy that, Jaime. I did enjoy that. Thank you. Because I've never had or never listened to the Who's debut except those tunes on the compilation. But it was great to see where they were headed, especially with Pete's background vocals and guitars. You could, you know, it was a great visit. So
Why don't
thank
you
you
go-
for
why
that,
don't-
Jaime.
Yeah, why don't you go back and enjoy some more of Keith Moon's drumming on it?
Well,
there's
I just
Plenty
no,
of it
no,
on there.
No, for that, I'll go to Who Are You? It's loaded and recorded better.
Well, it should be.
Yeah.
I hope so.
It was like 13 years later now. Things improved 13 years after 13 years, folks, except us.
Let's move forward, shall we?
Let's.
Let's go to 1984.
Apúrate!
1984.
1984. Let's go to a debut album that I waited for almost 3 years to come out.
84? How could you wait for a debut 3 years before?
Because the band was playing in the clubs. They were making a name for themselves.
And so you thought it was coming?
I think
I know Jim knows who it is.
I know where he's going with this.
84. Where's he going, Jaime?
Yep,
84.
there it is.
We're talking about the debut album of Wasp.
Ah, Lawless.
Buddy.
The torture never
Lawless.
stops with the savage primeval noise of Wasp.
There you go.
Wow, Frank.
Now, this is the first pressing of this album, and there's something very special about it that a lot of people don't know.
It's got raw meat in it.
Now, that's the show. But in the dead vinyl is this portion right here
Right.
where the writing is. The first pressing, it says, "We are sexual perverts." They denied this was the name, the acronym to their name. So when the second pressing and third pressing and so on came out, that was removed from the record.
I wonder why, though.
Now, it got cats. You guys know more than I do. Is that really why they're called that?
No, I don't think so.
That was even the talk back when they were playing in the clubs, even before the album came out. That people said.
Oh,
that's
so
what it
some
stood.
people just picked it up and thought, okay.
Plus, you get a buzz about a band if you start some
Right. They're what? Let's go see them.
it.
Blackie
Yeah.
probably started that rumor.
Yeah.
And only he knows for sure. So, but anyways, Wasp, the debut album.
Wow.
Now, you talk about an album of two sides. There's a story to that too. We'll talk about that on our next episode. But
The talk also was that at the time that Ace Frehley was pouring some money into that band.
he was a friend of Blackie's, and I think Blackie was one of those guys who liked to name drop. So he was out there saying Ace is going to help produce and going to do this, might do some solos on, trying to get interest in the album.
And what year was this, Frank?
1984. That's when it came out.
Okay, so Ace is already out of Kiss.
I saw him in
Healing from the car accident. Yeah.
I saw him in 83, 82 or 83.
Mm-hmm.
Craziest live show I have ever seen it.
Yeah.
I don't want to say at the Troubadour, but any local club.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy. You wouldn't get away with the stuff they were doing.
No.
Oh, really?
Way
Yeah.
out of control for the times, and that's
Sexist, misogynistic, torturous.
and it was all a plan designed to get themselves out there, because remember, parents hated Alice Cooper because he was evil,
Thank you, Frank. I was just going to say Alice Cooper
and then
with the guillotine.
Satan.
Sorry.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Have this, and this was a tip, to Tipper Gore and all the PMRC. Later on, they really fought them, and
Yeah.
they took everything just to the next level, but never really saw the superstardom that I thought they would have made.
They got kind of big and then something happened. I don't know if it was videos or what.
Yeah, times changed.
Yeah.
Change record companies change, and visions. So
What label is that on?
Capitol.
Oh, Capitol. Oh, okay.
Oh, that's Capital? Ooh. Ooh.
Anyway, they packed out the club.
Yes, they did. Oh, not Smallwood. He was their manager. It was Blackie Lawless and Mike Varney. Who was,
Oh, Mike Varney. Okay, makes sense. He's a
Right.
local LA guy.
yeah.
Yep.
So, anyways, that's what will be happening on the next episode of the JFJ Conspiracy Podcast.
I'm looking forward to that one.
I kind of am too. I don't have any wasp.
Oh, good.
I remember during those PMRC hearings,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't remember who said it. Maybe Frank Zappa, maybe
Dee Snider was pretty good during those hearings too.
maybe D. Snyder, but I think
he was.
he said, "Look, if the album cover has a picture of a guy with a saw blade between his legs, it's probably not a good record for Little Johnny." And he was talking about the Wasp. Well, the
The
Wasp
cod
logo.
piece. Yeah, it was the cod piece. Yeah.
Right.
Well, they had a EP out, or a single. You don't see it on here, but the Animal album,
Right.
single, I should say. And I've got 2 or 3 versions of that where he's got the bloody cod piece, and Blackie won't sing that song anymore. Blackie,
Probably not.
yeah.
No.
Anyways, Yeah, the PMRC. What a joke that was. It's something,
Yeah, that was
we just-
more tax dollars for
Just
crap.
talked about Tipper Gore today, I believe.
Right. Yeah. Some band has a new release. What the heck is it called, Jaime? What's that tune?
I don't know.
Something about apple pie or
Yeah.
I didn't get any mention from that, Jim. I was surprised. I really, didn't think you'd be, because it's a country song. It's a country song. So
Yeah.
anyway,
yeah, very, very. Well, it's got some words in it. Cooter,
I don't know what you're talking about.
pooter.
/Shakin' Abe. You can check it out.
Yeah. It's on Bandcamp, folks. Yep. Our good buddy Frank. Jaime knows, and I know.
Oh Lord. Yep.
I'm going to do it too. Cooter and pooter. Híjole.
That's right. Anyways, this is
Great tune though, folks.
quarantine brings on boredom.
Brother,
Great,
you ain't kidding. Brother, you ain't kidding.
Yeah.
Great place to end.
There you
Or begin.
go.
If it's the cooter or the pooter, you can end it there or begin. Did I do that?
Administrator, I think I can Jerry. So let's see. Just mute him. See now. See, you can't hear him anymore. Now you go ahead and unmute yourself, Jerry. It's okay. You can unmute. Anyways, Jim,
Yeah.
do you have anything?
He kind of did that in high school too. He'd just pinch me. He'd pinch my hip. I hated it. No, he'd pinch. Mute. And I hated it. It was right on my hip bone. He would pinch hard. Frank pinches hard, folks.
This is like a little TMI.
Yes, it is.
Agreed. Well, he brought up his tune. I'm just saying, folks. You
Jerry,
listen to that tune, you're going to hear.
I think you brought up the tune.
I'm not going there.
I didn't. I did not.
To end us with here, Jerry.
Frank was talking about BMRC, etc.
Well, with that, Jim, take us on home, would you?
Shop is closed.
Keep rocking, folks.
No. None of
Oh,
that.
we still on? Oh, good. I can do it. Keep rocking, folks. But usually I do that first before Jaime.
I
So
know.
you cross-modulated me when you said, Jaime, go first.